Let's just start off with the best one, man. Let's start with the best one, and then it'll just get worse as the video goes on. Yeah, this is the winner right here. That's the one. I'm not too sure which Axies to look at for Origin, considering we have another season in front of us. I was trying to find Axies that are both good in Season 21 and in Origin. I have a couple of things in mind. My first pick for the best Axie for Origin is this guy right here. So if you look right here, the parts list, it's your typical dual anemone, Nemo, but we have a 5 purity instead of a 6 purity, which means it won't be able to use the 3 top tier runes. It won't be able to use the best runes and charms, but it has Pink Cheek. Pink Cheek allows us to do some card selection early on in our matches, which solves the problem of our hair bird dynamic. Now we can use Pink Cheek for free. We can discard cards, especially if they're anemones. If we have anemones in our hand at the start of the match, we don't want them in our hand. We want to play other cards, right? So Pink Cheek will enable us to discard cards we don't want, so we can be guaranteed to draw our anemones after we've taken some damage. So that is my number one pick. This dual anemone guy is going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with. Very strong, very consistent, I think. Go to the next one, and they're gonna get progressively worse and worse. All right, so this guy. So we're gonna very quickly progress to the trash area, okay? So this is based off Small Frill. Small Frill enables us to get poison off on the entire enemy team. Very similar to how Yam is operating, but Yam being a 0 cost. Now we use Buzz as our damage output, and we also get the added benefit of shuffling days into our opponent's discard pile. And unlike Goda, this doesn't banish itself after you cast it. Yeah, so Cactus is kind of a nombo, so Cactus isn't probably the ideal horn here, but I thought this dynamic of poison the entire enemy team, poison the entire enemy team, hit the entire enemy team with Buzz. So let's get to the next one. This guy is all around Sidebarb. This is probably the least likely pick of mine to become part of the meta. So we have Catfish to get some healing off. We have Leaf Bug for the shield effect whenever you draw it. The same type of poison team in mind, using Yam and Sidebarb. Now Sidebarb, I think, is slightly better than the previous one, because Sidebarb itself does 50 damage. But then we rock something like Garish Worm. So we get to apply 2 poison per attack played this turn. So we can go with a Yam, and then hit him with Sidebarb, and then hit him with a Garish Worm. And that's only 3 energy. So I think that's a very, very solid combo. So this next guy, it looks like somebody is already kind of beating me to the punch. But this guy is around using Sidebarb card to land some poison shots and some debuffs on our opponents, but then also using Gia to do the damage instead of Buzz. Does a little bit more damage, and it deals the bonus 2 damage per poison stack on each enemy. And we have the added benefit of having Kotaro to maybe get some energy gain. So very interesting Axie, kind of expensive. A lot of these don't exist on the marketplace. This guy is $171 at the moment. All right, let's go on to the next guy. Very, very similar. Poison and Kotaro. We're using Sidebarb to get the poison stacks. Tri-Spikes, though, hits 3 times. So I think this could be very useful if poison works similar at all to what it does, which I don't think it will. But if it does. And then we have the Kotaro. And then we have Gia. But then we have Cerastes, which I think is an under-looked at card. It being able to reflect 85 damage, second only to Kingfisher. 85 is a lot to reflect. This guy could be a powerhouse in Origin. Go to the next guy, and now we're getting into some of the Axies that I think will be good in version 2 and in Origin. So this guy has our Scaly Spear here because that's very strong. But my thought process here is we're going to be using Green Thorns to trigger our Gia. Now Green Thorns can put 6 poison stacks on 2 enemies, and Gia can hit each and every enemy, and it does 2 bonus damage per poison stack. So if you hit them with the Green Thorns, now you have So Gia would do a bonus 24 damage. Green Thorns and Gia, very good together. Only one problem with this, and there is none available on the market, pretty much. So this opens up a huge opportunity for breeders. So this one's pricey, but this guy still usable, I think. Let's go to the next one. Now this one is a very interesting find. This guy is very cheap. This guy is $46. So this guy uses Oranda, and the new Oranda, if we look at it, gives us dispel up to 2 debuffs on target, because I think poison's going to be pretty popular at the beginning of Origin. It gives us the Nemo, so we can draw a card, gain 1 energy, and banish, so we can get Orandas off very cheap. So these two together would mean our Oranda kind of costs 1, but we get to use Risky Fish with Tiny Fan. So Tiny Fan is a 0 cost, so this guy has 2 0 costs, which would be good to balance the 2 energy costs. But Tiny Fan draws us a card and gives us an attack bonus. So I think that will counteract the negative effect of Risky Fish. So we have a very balanced fish, and then we have Green Thorns to get the poison stacks, assuming this guy would be on a similar team as the reptiles. That's my whole thought process there, is we would have our Scaly, our Cerastes, just a very durable team. Green Thorns, and then Gia to trigger the multiple Green Thorns. Something along those lines. This guy is very cheap. 0.015 Ethereum at the moment. This guy! I told you, the longer we go, the worse they're gonna get. This trash is $124 right now. 0.04 Ethereum. But this guy has something going on that a lot of people, I think, won't realize how strong it is. In Slay the Spire, Jinx cards, you have to cast them. They're not like the other cards like Confused. In Slay the Spire, cost 0, so you get to cast them for free, and they're out of your hand. But Jinxes cost 1, and you have to cast them, or else they stay in your hand. The Jinxes stay in your hand until you cast them. So if you don't cast them, and it ends the turn, all your non-Jinxes get discarded, and you draw a new card, and you draw a new hand the next turn, but the Jinx is still there. This guy has Tadpole, shuffle 1 Jinx to opponent's discard pile, but he has Raven, shuffle 1 Jinx into your opponent's discard pile, and Inkling, shuffle 1 Jinx into your opponent's discard pile. So this guy, the longer the match goes, similar to like the Nut and the double Little Owl build, this guy will be more and more frustrating as they're drawing more and more Jinxes throughout the game. So at one point in the game, you may draw 2 Jinxes and 3 other cards, and if you don't cast those 2 Jinxes, pretty soon, eventually, you would end up with a hand stuck with Jinxes that you have to cast. So it could be very brutal. So this guy, very wishy-washy, very trash in V2. All right, go on to the next one. All right, so this guy, it looks like the regular Dual Anemone, but look at his ear. See, this guy has Sakura. Sakura, whenever you activate it, it's a power. It gives that Axie an innate ability. So anytime you play a card, it would gain HP. And they changed it from 8 to 10. So could you imagine an Anemone team? It'd be better if this guy had Telescope on the eyeball, so he could draw his Anemones and stuff more frequently. But this guy, you get your Sakura at the very beginning of the game, before any damage is really dealt. And then from then on, your opponent's fighting an uphill battle, where your Anemone is constantly healing every time you're playing any cards. So when you play your Anemone, it heals 10. You play your Telescope, heals 10. Then you draw a card from your Telescope. It's an Anemone, it heals 20 because you drew the Anemone. You cast the Anemone, heals 10. See where I'm going with this? This guy is probably my least favorite Axie to play against. And it's only 60 bucks. All right, let's go on to the next one. This guy is kind of your support tank based around Lotus. So it gives you healing and it gives you shields for 1 energy. Very strong. But Mint shields your entire team for 20 and applies 1 cleanser. So it can remove 1 debuff. Very strong. Serious. deal 90 damage, strongest mouth card on a plant. Cactus, 65 damage, if initial, deal 15 bonus damage. But then Cattail, apply taunt to this Axie for 4 turns. So Cattail and Lotus means we do 50 damage, we heal this Axie, and shield it for 60 for 2 energy, forcing our guys to attack this over and over again. That combination of cards could be very, very consistent and really hard to deal with. Consistent builds like double anemone hair dagger, those are frustrating because they're gonna do the same thing every single time regardless of what you do, unless you're like slowing them down or something. So you'd have one with mint, and then you have one with pumpkin treat or bone cell, so you're getting draw triggers as well. It would be a very tough team to go on to the next one. Okay, we have 2 left. So this guy right here, this second to last guy, this guy's a trash panda of all trash pandas. He has leaf bug, he has pumpkin, he has swirl, he has poppy, he has hotbutt, and he has cute bunny. Right? So the whole premise of this guy is hotbutt and swirl both shuffle 3 cards in your opponent's deck. Swirl gives them 3 confuses, and confuses in Slay the Spire are 0 energy to cast them, to remove them, so they're gone. But Swirl and Hotbutt both give 3 each, so that's 6 cards from just 2. Versus if you watch my video up here, I have a video where I illustrated how strong Hotbutt and Goto would be together by shuffling them into an actual deck of cards and then playing the cards out and seeing what the turns would look like. With this, it'd be even worse. So the plan with this guy, gunk up your opponent's draws as much as possible, and then use Pumpkin to deter any attacks and draw extra cards, because our cute bunny will land fears on our enemy's Axies, resulting in the cards they do play just fizzling. The only drawback to this guy is because he's such a trash panda, this guy is only $35 though. Very, very cool little axe. All right, let's go on to the last one. Very similar to the last one. This guy is all about, this guy is sub 1 million ID for only 75 bucks. This guy has Hotbutt and ear breathing and snail shell. So snail shell, shuffling the goo into our opponent's deck. Ear breathing, shuffling 3 goos into our opponent's deck. Hotbutt, shuffling 3 burns into our opponent's deck. And then Parasite, being able to look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. And then Pincer to apply the bleeds for the 1v1s. The whole premise behind this guy is he's going to shuffle a bunch of garbage into your deck. You're not going to be able to draw anything really good. He's going to be using 60 damage to like tick at you and eat at you over time. So in theory, the 1v1, because you have applied bleed to the other Axie, they're taking damage when they do use any cards. And then they're going to be using their goos, and they're going to be using their burns. They're going to be using their confuses, their jinxes. And then you're just going to be just whittling them down over time. Yeah, anyways, what do you think? What's your favorite one so far? Mine, hands down, has to be Pink Cheeks. This is such a big deal that I actually, yeah, so I bought this guy. I got a really good deal. I got him from 0.013 Ethereum. So yeah, but the only thing is this guy has clear instead of telescope. What has you most excited about Origin? What builds do you want me to try out? Maybe we'll do like a, maybe if the channel grows, we'll do a, if we raise this much money, we'll buy this team and play it for like a week or something like that. Would that be exciting for you guys? I think that'd be kind of cool. Like, let's try the triple ear breathing comp.